Ever wondered what would happen if you found yourself plummeting towards the surface of Mars? It's a fascinating thought experiment that combines elements of physics, biology, and the harsh realities of space travel. Imagine for a moment that you're an astronaut and due to some unfortunate mishap, you're falling towards Mars. What would that experience be like? Let's dive into the details and find out. First of all, there's no falling into Mars like you might fall into a hole or a pit. Mars is a planet with a solid surface, so you'd be falling towards it, not into it. As you descend towards the Martian surface, things start to get interesting very quickly. The first thing you'd notice is the difference in gravity. Mars has weaker gravity, about 38% of Earth's. This means that if you were to fall towards Mars, you'd be falling much slower than you would on Earth. To put it into perspective, if you were to jump from a height on Mars, it would feel like you're moving in slow motion. This is because the gravitational pull is much weaker, giving you more hang time in the air. However, there's a catch. Mars has a super thin atmosphere, which means there's hardly any air to slow you down as you fall. On Earth, the atmosphere acts as a cushion, providing air resistance that slows your descent. But on Mars, this cushion is almost non-existent. So even though you're falling slower due to the weaker gravity, the lack of atmospheric resistance means there's almost no cushion to soften your landing. If you were to fall from a small height, you'd probably be fine. The impact wouldn't be too severe and you could likely walk away unscathed. But if you were to fall from a great height, say from a spacecraft, you'd still hit the ground pretty hard. The impact wouldn't be as deadly as it would be on Earth, but it wouldn't be a soft landing either. Surviving the fall itself isn't the real problem. The real danger comes from what happens next. Mars is an incredibly harsh environment. It's freezing cold, with temperatures that can plummet to -80 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower at night. The air is toxic, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, and there's almost no atmospheric pressure. If your spacesuit were to get damaged during the fall, you'd be in serious trouble. Without the protection of your suit, you'd lose consciousness within seconds due to the lack of oxygen and the extreme cold. And within minutes, it would be game over. But let's say you managed to survive the fall, and your suit is intact. You'd still have to deal with the challenges of the Martian environment. The low gravity on Mars means you could jump 3 times higher than you can on Earth. This might sound fun, but it also means you'd have to be careful with your movements to avoid accidental falls or injuries. The thin atmosphere also means that you'd be exposed to higher levels of radiation from the sun. On Earth, our thick atmosphere and magnetic field protect us from most of this radiation, but on Mars, you'd be much more vulnerable. So while falling on Mars might feel like an epic slow-motion jump gone wrong, the real dangers lie in the environment itself. Space is an awe-inspiring place, full of wonders and mysteries, but it's also incredibly unforgiving. The more we learn about planets like Mars, the more we realize just how challenging space exploration can be. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see Mars shining brightly, remember the incredible challenges that come with exploring such a distant and hostile world. Fun fact: because of the low gravity, you could jump 3 times higher than on Earth. Imagine the thrill of leaping into the air and experiencing a moment of weightlessness before gently descending back to the ground. So technically, falling on Mars feels more like an epic slow jump gone wrong. Space is awesome, but it's not exactly forgiving. The more we understand about the conditions on other planets, the better prepared we'll be for future missions. Curious about more cosmic questions? There's so much more to explore and discover in our universe, like share and subscribe to stay updated with the latest in space exploration and cosmic wonders. Thanks for watching and keep looking up at the stars.